This is the recent Star Wars ongoing monthly series from Dark Horse Comics that is no longer ongoing because the Star Wars rights are going back to Marvel Comics starting, I think it's in January. But this is a pretty good series. It ran for 20 issues, and it took place just after the events of Episode 4, or the original Star Wars. And it's got some real nice cover art on these books, so I figured I'd just go through and one by one and show these off for the Star Wars fans out there, comic book fans, whatever. And so Marvel has 3 Star Wars titles being published. There's going to be a basic Star Wars like this series here, and I believe the time period is also the same. It's just after the events of Episode 4. And there's also going to be a Star Wars Darth Vader monthly, and I think also a Star Wars Princess Leia monthly. And I'm going to pull 2 of the 3. I'm going to pull the regular version and the Darth Vader title. I'll have the comic shop pull those for me. Starting in January, and we'll see what Marvel does with it. Hopefully they do a good job, because I really like what Dark Horse has done with Star Wars over the years. Started way back when with Dark Empire, back in 1991. I remember when that came out. That was big news. Actually, comic books were worth quite a bit of money back and around the time they were released. Not so much anymore, but anyway, that started the whole Star Wars run with Dark Horse. I like this cover here. Darth Vader. This is number 8. This is number 9. There was one storyline in here I didn't particularly care for. It had to do with, I think, Princess Leia trying to secure a new rebel base, and as part of that deal, she had to marry some guy, some prince of some planet, and it seemed awfully similar to a fiction book from the expanded universe that came out many, many years ago called, I think, The Courtship of Princess Leia. And I used to read all those hardcover books back when they were released in the 90s. But it's been a long time. Anyway, that was the only storyline I didn't particularly care for. But everything else about this series has been pretty well done. Love the cover art. Actually, wouldn't mind putting a few of these just out on the shelf, standing upright, for just to show them off. But here's the one I was telling you about. This is pretty weak sauce right here. This particular story arc. Friendly Fire, issue number 16. Number 17. So I like this cover here. Wedding Day Destruction. Number 19. And then it wrapped up just, I think, last month with issue number 20. And that's it. It was 20 issues. And that's all she wrote for Dark Horse. Over here I got the Dark Horse run here from, this is The Star Wars. This series was based on George Lucas's original screenplay. I haven't read these books yet, but this is, based on his original rough draft screenplay. So a lot of stuff is different. There's some similarities. Seem pretty interesting, so one of these days I'll sit down and I'll go through. I'll just burn through all 8 issues. This one's issue 0. I don't think there's any story in here. I think this is just like artwork and some conceptual stuff. And this was, I'm not sure when this came out. If it was like maybe halfway through the run. Here's the first issue. Number 1. You could probably pick this up in trade paperback form for like $15, maybe $20. Collects all the issues. So Anakin Starkiller and Luke Skywalker. This looks like Brad Pitt and Natalie Portman. And this is number 6. You can see how they spell Anakin. They kind of spell it different too. This is Chewbacca here. At least I think it's Chewbacca. And number 8. It's interesting cover art. So yeah, this was just a 8-issue run. I think Again, based on Lucas's original draft of Star Wars. Obviously, what ended up in the theaters was totally different than what you, I guess, what's in here. But interesting nonetheless. And that'll wrap up this week's episode of Friday Night Comics. Gonna just roll these back one by one until I get to number 1. And I should be back next week for another episode. We'll see. I'm just starting to get real busy as things are, finalizing the whole big event that's coming up in a couple of weeks for me. But I'll be around. I'll probably get in there at least one more video between now and then. So thanks for watching, and yeah, see you next time.